Welcome to another episode of A Happy Fucking Life. This is Rhonda Kennedy. I am your host of this podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you, whether you're watching, whether you are listening, wherever you are, if you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're at the office, if you're at the grocery store, because I listen to podcasts when I grocery shop. It makes shopping that much more enjoyable. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. This is the third episode and I'm excited. It feels good to be back to it. If you listened to the last episode, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm back from vacation. I've been back for a couple of days now. And I'm feeling rested. I'm feeling restored. My heart is full. I got a chance to see my family. We spent a lot of really, really good quality time together. We had some laughs. We swam. We ate good. We drank. We played games. We slept. We did a lot of things. And I'm just grateful that we had a chance to have that time together. So I'm feeling really good. This was a great way to actually start summer. The first day of summer was upon us while we were on vacation. So it was a great way to get things started off for the summer. And now I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. It is so hard to get back into work once you're on vacation. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm really getting myself to a place of, getting my content created, getting all my projects done, meeting all my deadlines, responding to emails, just getting back into the swing of things, which is not always easy. I'm a one-woman show. So, just trying to make good on the things that I set out to do every single day, because I want to say this, that I definitely feel like that I've had people approach me and just tell me how lucky I am, how easy it is, to be an entrepreneur, be a content creator. And I'm like, man, it's not that easy. It's a lot of work that goes into it. It really is. And I know that it can look like a lot of hanging out, a lot of frolicking around, a lot of doing nothing, a lot of downtime, but it's not. It's a lot of time that it takes into creating content, understanding what you want to deliver, what you want to create, what people will enjoy. It's really hard figuring that stuff out, and creating it, getting it edited, putting it on the platform, putting it on social media. All of those steps are really, really, it's a lot of time that goes into it, because I know when I worked my job, that was a lot easier because I knew what I had to do every single day. I could practically be on autopilot and get through a work day. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the easy side of it. But when it comes to working for myself, I got to get up and figure out what's my priority for the day, what's the money maker, but also making sure I'm getting everything on my list done. And a lot of times I don't. A lot of times I just don't. I run out of gas sometimes and that's it. I have to call it a day. But it's a lot that really goes into getting stuff done, making sure that it's quality, and sometimes just when you're doing it by yourself or if you have a small team, you can hit a wall creatively, you know what I'm saying? And it can get tough. It can get tough. So, working a 9-to-5, working for yourself, I think that it's all hard work. A lot comes along with it. And in both worlds, it's just very important to find balance. It's very important to make sure you're maintaining the things that make you happy, because you can definitely burn out as an entrepreneur. You can burn out on the 9-to-5 side of it too. So yeah, it's definitely not a walk in the park. It's a lot. It's very challenging, but I'll tell you what, it's teaching me a lot about myself in ways that I never would have imagined. And the mistakes and things that have not worked out so well, it's just been nice, having a chance to really sit with those things and see what I could have done different, you know what I'm saying? Versus having somebody screaming and yelling at me or me being written up for a mistake that I made. I will say that. That is what I do enjoy, that when there is an opportunity for me, I get a chance to really take my time with it and, see how I can be better the next time around, versus my job dangling over my head. And like I said, me being reprimanded for making a mistake, because mistakes happen. They do. I make a ton of them all the time. That's just a part of life, and I wish that, in a work environment, obviously, depending on what kind of mistakes you're making them and how frequently you're making them, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it's important to have room for error in the workplace, because as humans, that has to be accounted for. So anyways, so back from vacation, and let's see what else is going on right now before I go into my topic. I don't really have a whole lot going on, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, more than anything, just trying to get... The one thing I'll tell you I'm working on is trying to be consistent. I want to make sure that I'm being consistent with this podcast, being consistent with my main YouTube channel over at Rhonda's Red Sauce, making sure that I'm meeting my different deadlines that I have. I have a ton of deadlines, y'all, and I'm just really, really focused on my consistency, because my consistency really has just been trash. I'm gonna call it what it is. And I haven't been like beating myself up about it. It's just, damn, Rhonda, when we gonna get it together? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want to be consistent. I think that there's so, like, being consistent has so many rewards to it. And yeah, so when I finally get to a place of consistency, which this podcast is helping me, like me dropping it on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, like saying that, you know, that is when it's going to be available. Like, I need to make good on that. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I decided to choose a time and a day that I was going to drop it, so that I could show up for myself, show up for those of you that want to listen. Yeah, so consistency is the thing that I'm working on right now, and I'm struggling. This is something I've been struggling with for about 1.5 years, I would say, a little before the pandemic, and then the pandemic just didn't help. So yeah, so that's where I am with things. So this week is going to be a little bit different. You know, I was sitting around thinking, I take a ton of notes on my phone in terms of what I want to talk about. You know, I'm always thinking about things, and when they come to me, I write them down, either write them down on my phone or write them down in a notebook, so that I can get back to them for a point of reference and try to figure out, you know, some topics and stuff around it. But this time around, I actually got an email. I got an email. I do have my email address in the description box below. So if you want to send me an email, please feel free to. And someone found the email address and decided to send me a message. So I'm actually going to go ahead and actually read this. Read the message that I received, and I'm going to basically respond to it and really kind of just go into the topic, you know, what this episode is about, based on this letter. So it all kind of worked out. This letter matches up in terms of what I wanted to talk about anyway. So before I get into all of that, no matter where you're listening, Spotify, Apple, Google, I would appreciate it if you are on the Apple platform, if you could take a minute to go ahead and give me a review, giving, you know, a comment, giving me a rating, you know, whatever you feel in terms of the stars. That really helps, you know, try to get this podcast suggested to other people. And then if you are on the YouTube side of things, please go ahead and give this a thumbs up, and go ahead and leave me a comment. You know, if you feel something in this, go ahead and share it out to your group chat, your Facebook, whatever, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Just share it wherever you see fit. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and get into this message. Okay. So like I said, I got this message, and this person will remain anonymous. Okay, so let me go ahead and read this. So you'll see me looking down on YouTube because I'm reading the message, okay? All right, so it says, "Hey, Rhonda, I'm struggling when it comes to happiness. Does it really exist? I feel like it doesn't because I've never experienced it before. I'm a 37-year-old woman who hates the relationship I'm in. It's so toxic. I hate my job. There's no room for growth. And my apartment is way too small. It's time for my 12-year-old boy and my 9-year-old daughter to stop sharing a room. Ugh. It feels like there's no way to fix any of this. Please help. Signed, Unhappily Ever After." Wow, that's, you know, that sounds like it's a lot of, you know, there is a lot of room to grow based on this letter. And I'll tell you, I can relate to it. You know, I didn't understand what happiness was because it just wasn't a consistent thing in my life. So I can understand when it feels like there's no way to go up in any of this. You know, you are unhappy in every part of your life, right? So happiness, in my opinion, is a state of mind. It has to be something that you believe in, that it exists. So if you say that happiness doesn't exist, I feel like it's impossible for it to show up. And when it tries to, I feel like you'll resist it. So that's what I want to say. So I think it's definitely a state of mind, something you have to believe in. Even if you don't know what to call it, if you've never experienced it, just to understand that it actually exists. And in terms of your life, I will say this, you know, we've been dealt our hand, right? Our life is how our life is. It's constructed how it is. None of us had a say in it. None of us asked to be here. We get here and we have all these things that are stacked against us. And I don't know what your childhood or anything was like. You know, I don't know if you're in a toxic relationship because that's what you're used to. I don't know if you grew up in a toxic household. I don't know if you grew up in dysfunction. I'm not sure. But what I will say is that there has to come a time when our life has to be our responsibility. So I want to say this, and I'm saying this with love, but it has to be said, is that life is about choices. Everything that you said is wrong is a choice. So you remaining in a toxic relationship, remaining in a job that is not fulfilling, being in an apartment that you know is not enough space, you know, for your children to have privacy or whatever else you might need. Those are all choices. Those are all things that can be fixed. You know, I know that when our back is against the wall, things get tough. we feel down and out. The thing about life is that we go through things, and I think it is important for us to go through things because you get a chance to see how you can navigate the choppy waters. How are you going to survive? Because in a lot of times in life, it's sink or swim. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to figure out something. And when your back is against the wall, it's about how do you respond? How do you quiet everything down? How do you come up with a plan? What kind of sacrifices are you willing to make? What kind of things are you willing to ask for help for? And, I just think that that's part of life, in all honesty. And like I said, I feel like these things are choices. It is now time for you to show up for yourself to figure out how to fix these things in your life. You have to be able to end the relationship, or, it can be repaired. And if it can't be, be strong enough, be willing to choose yourself over that relationship, because honestly, anybody, not anybody, but being in a relationship that is not fruitful, that is not fulfilling, that is not healthy, what is the point? To be honest with you, and that's me talking to my younger self as well, because I've had, most of my relationships were like that. Not all of them, but most of them were like that, where it was just people just being together for the sake of it. Whether we shared the same trauma, the same dysfunction, just going through the motion. It's not beneficial for anybody for us to be in this relationship. So I think that it's time for you to either end the relationship. If it can be fixed, fix it, because look, we all have the ability to be toxic. So you say it's a toxic relationship. Is it you being toxic? Is it your partner being toxic? Or is it both of you? So if you guys can fix it, then I say go get help and figure that out. In terms of your job, you have to make a choice about that. So, is there additional training that you might be able to, to take on at work, get additional training so you can get a promotion, or potentially go to a different department, or just leave the company altogether. You have to be able to apply yourself. You have to have that desire and that will to look for something better, something more, something that is that's fulfilling. Something that you enjoy doing every day, or that you can at least enjoy most of the time. I do believe that 40 hours a week at a job, like doing something that you hate for 40 hours a week, like that's misery. That's miserable. I don't care how much money you're making. If you doing something that you fucking hate every week, like, come on, just imagine how many parts of your life are affected because of that. Your mental health, your physical health, your friendships, how you talk to your children, how you talk to anybody could, can get it and be affected. Any part of your life could be affected because you're spending so much of your time doing something that you absolutely hate. So I would say sit back and assess that, think about the skills that you have. Do you need to acquire more skills? Do you need more education? What do you need? What industry do you want to be in? Do you want to try something different? Are you happy with the industry but just need a new company? Like, really sit back and assess what you want to do. It is now time for you to go ahead and take control and responsibility of your life and make some different choices. And in terms of your children, I'm assuming that maybe it's a money thing. If the job thing is not working out, there's no growth. If you're saying that you're not making enough money, it's time to figure the job thing out so that you can, figure everything out with your household, so that you can make sure you can get a bigger space. Are you willing to move to a different area? Are you willing to, I don't know. Maybe you have family that may have, extra rooms so that there is space for your children to have, their own space temporarily, so you can save money. Like, I think a lot of life requires sacrifice. Sacrifices have to be made. And a sacrifice, a lot of people don't want to make them, but it's temporary. The sacrifice is always temporary, And so essentially this letter really spoke to me in terms of choices. Like, we all have a choice to make. Like, wherever we're unhappy in our life, wherever things are not working out, there's always a choice to climb and dig yourself out of that. You're never stuck. You may feel stuck, but you don't have to be there forever doing that thing for the rest of your life if you don't want to. Now, if you do decide to do it, that is a choice that you've made. And that's the truth. So if you decide to stay in a relationship that is no good for you, if you decide to stay at a dead-end job, if you decide to stay in a neighborhood that you hate, if you decide to live in a city that you no longer love, those are all choices. And I understand that it's not easy to pick up and, change a lot of those things. It may not change overnight, but if you're like, I absolutely hate the city that I live in, then you're going to have to make a plan to figure out how to get out of it. Do you pick up a second job? What do you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you work overtime at work so that you can, save money so that you can move? Like, something has to be done so that you can now relocate. So yeah, like, choices are really important. I've made a lot of poor choices in my life, and all of those poor choices led to me being unhappy. I was miserable, So I feel like now that I'm a person who understands and is like, really, like, happiness is extremely important to me. It's not something that I'm willing to sacrifice. And I don't want to make it sound like, I don't want to sell anybody a dream on the fact that I'm walking around happy every moment of my life. That's not it. But for the most part, I am happy. And, because I understand the feeling of true happiness, I can tell when I'm not happy, or I can tell when things are taking a left turn. And when they are, I'm able to sit with myself and assess what it is that I need in that moment so that I can get back to a good place. You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes I'll give you a prime example. I wake up, I'm not saying I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but let's say by noon, I get up at 9, and by noon, the day is just taking a turn. Like, everything is going wrong, right? I don't just throw the day away with oh, well, like, fuck it kind of attitude. I still try to focus on the things that, that I can actually make happen within that day. I still try to focus on and push through. Now, sometimes I can't push through. And sometimes I got to throw the towel in, but I have to assess what my needs are in that particular day and what I'm up against, because every day is different. Every day, every single day looks different. So some days I do have to throw the towel in and just be like, fuck it. Today ain't it. It ain't it. So what I'm about to do is crawl in bed. I'm about to binge watch a TV show. I'm about to go through YouTube and look at, a bunch of videos that I'm behind on. And I just call it what it is. I chop the day up and that's it. Because sometimes it's like that. But sometimes your day can be salvaged, and your day is salvaged because of what you choose to do. What choice are you going to make? I've been able to salvage my day by simply stopping to meditate for 10 minutes, or stopping to take, 5 minutes to breathe, or going for a walk, or going for a drive, or making myself lunch, or watching a comedy series real quick. Like, there are just things that you can be intentional about that help you turn your day around. But again, it's a choice. You know what I'm saying? And if you wake up and you're just like, today's going to be a shitty day, and you do that every single day, then of course you have to expect to have a shitty day. That's how it's going to be. So I want to say that there's definitely power in the tongue. There's power in what you think. There's power in your perception and how you choose for your day to go. I know a lot of things are beyond our control, but trust me, when you wake up, you really set the tone of your day, of how it's going to be. So if you declare it's going to be a shitty day, expect that. If you declare that it's going to be a good day, expect that. I'm not saying that it's not going to be hiccups, but you're so determined and committed to having a good day. You know what I'm saying? That you are willing to deal with the roadblocks, deal with the challenges, and still able to see the good in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's still available to you. Because good and happiness is available to all of us. It's within reach. I'm not saying that it's something that happens overnight, but it does require you to do some things different. It does require you to make some different choices. So, to unhappily ever after, I hope that you are just, willing to sit back, sit with yourself, see the decisions that you've made, see how you can make some different choices, and see trust me, there's going to be benefit in the choices that you make when you really identify the areas of your life where you're unhappy. You've given me 3 areas you're unhappy with, and there may be more, I'm not sure, but write it out. Be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, come up with a plan. How can you fix these things? What can be different? What can you try as an alternative? And that's it. And I wish you the best, because you really do deserve to be happy. You do. You're still young, you're vibrant, you have a lot of life to live. You got, I'm sure, some beautiful children, that they can feel when you're unhappy as well. They're in tune with your emotion. So I wish you the best in your relationship, and moving and finding a better job, or figuring things out at your current job. So that's it, y'all. So that's the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I will be here next Wednesday. And like I said, if you decide that you want to ask me a question and you want my opinion, perspective, advice on it, you want to hear my 2 cents, go ahead and chat and actually check out the description box below. You will see the email address, and email me, send me a message. I will gladly read your message aloud on here on the podcast and give you my 2 cents. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Again, if you're on Apple, please be sure to give me some feedback. Go ahead and give me a review. Thank you so much. And if you're on YouTube, please give this video a big thumbs up, and go ahead and leave me a comment, and be sure to share it out with your friends. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Be good to yourself. Peace.